All right, today's gospel reading will be from Luke chapter 6, verses 1 through 11, and I'll be doing the explanation according to the Blessed Theophylact, who is an archbishop from the Ohrid region of Bulgaria from the 11th century. All right, verses 1 through 5. And it came to pass on the second Sabbath after the first, that he went through the grain fields, and his disciples plucked the heads of grain and did eat, rubbing them in their hands. And certain of the Pharisees said unto them, Why do ye that which is not lawful to do on the Sabbath days? And Jesus answering them said, Have ye not read so much as this, what David did when he himself hungered, and they which were with him, how he went into the house of God, and did take and eat the loaves of oblation, and gave also to them that were with him, which it is not lawful to eat, but for the priests alone? And he said unto them, The Son of Man is Lord also of the Sabbath. And the explanation here, the Jews called every feast a Sabbath, because Sabbath means rest. Therefore, when a feast day fell on a Friday, as it often would, they would call that Friday Sabbath because of the feast. In that case, they would call the following day, which was the actual Sabbath day, the second Sabbath after the first, because it came second in time, preceded by the first Sabbath, which was the feast day. It happened to be just such as an occasion on this day. So the evangelist calls it the second Sabbath after the first. When the Pharisees accused the disciples of working on the Sabbath by plucking and rubbing the heads of the grain in their hands and eating, the Lord offers as evidence in their defense the example of David, who ate the loaves of oblation when he became hungry. For when he was fleeing from Saul, David approached Abiathar, the high priest, and tricked him by saying that the king had sent him on some urgent mission. And since he was hungry, David took the loaves of oblation from the priest, that is, he took those 12 loaves which were set forth on the holy table each day, 6 on the right side and 6 on the left. David also took the sword of Goliath. The Lord relates this incident to the Pharisees in order to shame them by David's own actions. If you hold David in honor, he is saying, how can you condemn my disciples? Moreover, I myself, the Son of Man, am Lord of the Sabbath, since I am creator, maker, master, and lawgiver, and I have the authority to relax the laws of the Sabbath. No one else can be called the Son of Man except Christ, the Son of God, who for man's sake saw fit to become and to be called, paradoxically, the Son of Man. For you or me to be called a son of man is nothing strange, but it is only Christ who became man in a manner beyond understanding, who can rightly be called the Son of Man. Verses 6 through 11. And it came to pass also on another Sabbath, that he entered into the synagogue and taught, and there was a man whose right hand was withered. And the scribes and Pharisees were watching him, whether he would heal on the Sabbath day, that they might find an accusation against him. But he knew their thoughts, and said to the man who had the withered hand, Rise up and stand forth in the middle. And he arose and stood forth. Then said to Jesus unto them, I will ask you one thing. Is it lawful on the Sabbath days to do good, or to do evil, to save life, or to destroy it? And looking around about upon them all, he said unto them, the man, Stretch forth thy hand. And he did so. And the hand was restored whole as the other. And they were filled with madness, and conversed with one another what they might do to Jesus. And the explanation here, we have already spoken concerning this miracle in the explanation of St. Matthew's Gospel. We haven't, but he's written about it. Now, we also say that a man who does no works of virtue is the man whose hand is withered. The hand is that member of the body which performs work, and if a man's hand is withered, he can do no work. Therefore, whoever wants his withered hand made whole, it will be made whole on the rest of the day, on the day of rest. What I mean is this: a man cannot do any deed of virtue unless he rests from doing evil. First, turn away from evil, and then do good. Therefore, when you have kept a Sabbath day of rest, that is, when you have ceased from doing works of evil, then stretch out your hand to do works of virtue, and your hand shall be restored. It was fitting that the evangelist said that the man's hand was restored, for there was a time when human nature had the power to do good, and when the hand, that is, the strength to act, was whole. But when human nature lost this power, Christ by grace recovered it and restored it to its former good estate.